Perfect. All right, so today what you guys are going to realize is that if you guys don't do the stuff that most people don't do, especially when it comes to sales teams early, and if you don't have a plan, it's not going to go the way that you want it to. So today, and I've talked to a lot of you guys about what you're actually looking for, what you guys came here for, what you guys need. Bridger, we've had tons of conversations. Today is about doing the stuff that you have to do and having a plan to move forward with so that when we get to systems tomorrow, you guys know exactly how to get them implemented and you know why you're doing it. Okay? When you're building a sales team, it's not about jumping straight into systems. It's about creating a plan, a roadmap, knowing where you're at, and actually building from that plan to go into the systems with a plan so that when you get there, you actually have some foundation built. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm going to start to learn about this clicker real quick. Introduction today. For Module 1, we're going through the team, sales momentum history, what we're going to accomplish today. We're going from distress to eustress. We're presenting the structure, the roadmap, on exactly what we're going to do to take you guys from basically what it looks like at $0 all the way to about $1 million a month. Okay? And everything that needs to happen in between that. So we are going to talk a lot about what happens with sources. There's going to be a lot of that tomorrow. We're going to be talking about what you actually need to have in place while you're building your team. We're going to talk a lot about what happens to teams that don't have these things in place. And we're going to talk a lot about those stories. And it's going to be a pretty awesome day. But you guys are all going to be drinking from the fire hose today. There's going to be a lot of material. A lot of it's going to be covered in a good amount of time. All I recommend is that you write down as much as you can, get as many questions as you guys have down, so when we come to work with you about it, we can actually work with you guys on what you actually need. Okay?
Oh, and also guys, as you can see, everything here is going to be recorded, so don't feel like you have to go and take a photo of every single slide and then, oh my god, I gotta miss that. You guys are going to get these recordings back. We're going to have them back almost immediately after the event, so you don't have to worry about waiting like 2 months for the content as well. So,
yep. 100%. You guys will get the resources, you guys are going to get the slides, you guys are going to get the recordings, so just keep that in mind. All right? So let's get into it. First thing, I'm going to introduce the team. If you guys do have questions, there's going to be specialists that focus on different areas, okay? Specifically on the different days that we're going through this stuff, okay? So like I said, today, what we're about to go into is the evolution of sales teams. Going from about 0 to 200K, 200K to 500K, and 500K to $1 million. Okay, and what actually has to be in place. All right? So with that being said, my name's Aaron. We're going to hear a little bit about my story in just a second. We've got my twin brother up there, Austin, if everybody wants to give him a wave real quick. Okay, Austin is primarily focused on CS. So client success, fulfillment, operation systems. We're going to talk about aligning sales with fulfillment. That's going to be one of our last topics. That's his brain. Okay, we are twins. I am on the front end. My focus is sales. His focus is how to give the clients the best experience possible when your sales team starts crushing it. Okay? Very, very, very important component. We're going to talk about how your CS is actually your second team, your second sales team. Okay? And we're going to talk a lot about that on Sunday. Next, we've got Chris Hoffman. Where's Chris? There he is. Chris. You guys are going to see him in a lot of slides. Chris actually started in one of the first businesses where this guy in the back corner there, yep, Connor, about 4.5 years ago. Chris, what were you doing before? Valet. So he was crushing it, and I came and ruined his dreams. And he came in and worked from the bottom up and ultimately replaced me as vice president of sales at the company that I was at. And he has learned and gone through everything that you guys are about to go through today firsthand. He's gone through all of it. Every single piece. He's lived it, he's done it, he's trained it, he's built it, he's replicated himself. Okay? And that's what you guys are going to see a lot about today is the reason that I got obsessed with building sales teams was because I got obsessed about building the people that I was able to work with. Right? Now, when we talk about sales teams, everybody has a reason why, right? Oh, I need to make more money, we need more, whatever, I want to sell, I want to exit, I want to do this, I want to do that. If you guys can get really focused on how to actually develop the people that are coming into your team so you guys can provide opportunities, that's where you need to be fixated. Sales is one of the best opportunities that you can give everybody, especially if it's your company, right? And for me, I was a creative. I started as a creative, which we're going to talk about, and I got very obsessed when I started to realize that I like giving people opportunities and I like helping them see those opportunities through. And that's where a lot of these frameworks came from. And if you're not focused on that, I promise you the culture that you want to create won't be there, okay? So Chris will be a very, very important person for you guys if you have questions today to talk to him, okay? All right, we've got Riley. Where's Riley? Yeah, he's three-pieced up. Riley and I met back in college at Florida State. We didn't know it, and same with Nick over there, homie in the shades. There we go. We didn't know it, but little did we know at that time that we would be building something like this. Okay, Riley has done amazing things in the sales space. He's led teams, he's built teams, he's done a lot of what we're going to talk about today in very different spaces. Okay, comes from a door-to-door background. All right, so if anybody in here needs help, anything, he's going to be another point of contact specifically for today. All right, and we've got Gavin over here with, Gavin runs all of our marketing. Brad, lead gen, talk to Gavin. Okay, anybody else looking for marketing support, especially when we get to the marketing and sales alignment, Gavin's going to be one of your guys. Okay, Hunter. Hunter is in the back. Hunter has been one of my good friends since when, about 8th grade? Probably about 8th grade, yeah. Hunter's been through pretty much every single venture that I've ever done, and he's been a backbone. So he understands this stuff. He is a systems guy. So when we do get to the systems component, he will be a great source for all of you guys. Trevor, where's Trevor? Trevor is one of the newest members of the team. He is a integrations, Zapier, connect stuff, and make sure your shit doesn't break guy. Okay? So when we're talking about a bunch of stuff that is going over people's heads, or maybe you have something that's absolutely, you can't figure it out, he's the guy. Okay? Colin. All right, Colin should have texted every single one of you guys. Colin is the newest. He started a few weeks ago. Colin's background is interesting. He was a ranger in the military, and then he went into private contracting. He is an absolute monster. We hired him, and he immediately got an Airbnb down here, and he's been up till about 4 a.m. with me ever since. So, Colin, if you guys need anything at all, it could be the smallest thing, he is here for you guys. He is here to make sure whatever you might need, whether it's time with me, it's time with some of the guys, you guys need something small, he'll make sure it happens, okay? We got Jesse, who's not here right now. He'll be here in a little bit. Jesse comes from a background of big corporate. Think 5,000 employees, 10,000 employees, multiple levels of leadership. He is the guy that companies pay an absurd amount of money, including us, to come in and help make sure that they are set up for scale. He is an operations guy, he's a process ID guy, he is a, I'm going to make sure that you scale, and when you scale, nothing gets disorganized, nothing breaks. He's the guy that big corporate companies basically bring in to make sure that their stuff is set up properly, okay? He is going to go over a lot on Sunday on how to basically take all of this stuff, turn it into a plan that's living, breathing, ever-changing, and can be optimized, okay? It's a thought process. It's not just what he's going to talk about. It's going to be basically the mindset shift that you actually have to get into if you guys want to take what you're going to learn this weekend and be able to roll it out properly, okay? Next, we got Alan. He's not here, so we're not going to mention that. We've got Nick. Nick is another background sales guy. He is, yeah, go ahead. Primary contacts for today are going to be me, Nick, Chris, and Riley. Okay? For the content that we're going to talk about today, it is 100% focused on sales evolution, which we're going to talk a lot about. Those are the 4 guys to go to. Okay? Including myself. All right. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to tell a very quick short story so you guys can understand kind of why I'm up here and why this is what I love to do. And it's an interesting story, but I'm going to make a long story very short. In college, I was at Florida State, kind of going to college. I really wasn't there to be in school. I was there because that's what I thought I needed to do. And I was social chair for my fraternity. And who here saw Ty Lopez ads when they were first getting into things? Okay. So the Lamborghini or the Ferrari and my reading a book, yeah, I saw that too. And I ended up starting a bikini company in school. It was awesome, as you can tell. I was 19, 20, it was great. And we ended up buying about 3,000 bikinis, dropping them off at the sororities' houses, and having them all post at the same time. And it kind of started a wildfire. And so the first thing I ever did was drop shipping. That was the first thing that got me into business. It was interesting. I was having fun with it. Had no idea what I was doing. I didn't spend $1 on ads. I basically threw a store together, bought a bunch of free bikinis, and dropped them off at the girls' houses, and it went well. That took me into creating a marketing company, which you can see here. We actually, I remember carrying in a TV about this size to a modeling agency in Orlando and pitching them so I could get their entire top floor for an office. And that's what we did. So it was about 8 to 10 guys packed in, trying to run a bikini company and doing marketing. We eventually started getting flown around the world to work with travel agencies specifically to help them curate content. I was a creative before I did any of this. ADHD, crazy, can't get thoughts down, not organized. I was obsessed when only I could see my work actually playing out, right? I had a good conversation with Caleb. Where's Caleb? There he is. And where this started to transition is during this period, I got to work with artists. We were helping them with their EPs, with music videos. I was doing a lot of different strange things kind of all across the board. Whatever you can think of, we were doing marketing-wise. And eventually, I met a guy here in Miami at an event like this where he said, I want to do an event. I said, cool, we'll do your marketing. At that point, I had no idea what I was doing. We took all of our money, we said that we're going to do a 50-person event. We found a venue, it was 350 people minimum, and that's what we did. We put all of our money into that event. We didn't have a product to sell. Ben Marone, where's Ben? Ben won a ticket about 5.5, 6 years ago over an Instagram Live, and we ended up selling out this event. I also met my wife, Paulina, who's over here in the corner. She won a ticket as well. And that story is very interesting because somehow she made it into the VIP dinner, was sitting across from me. I wouldn't talk to her, and yeah, eventually we got married, which is kind of interesting. So, beyond that event, we started a crowdsourced consulting company, which Connected, who Connor is representing here today, was a client of. And when this company ended up parting ways, me and my partner decided to go and do different things, I got the opportunity to go into sales. Now, I didn't really know what I was best at the time. I knew that I liked sales, I knew that I liked people, and I had done a lot of different things. At the time, Connected was a very, very small company. Think Chrome extension, software plugin that very few people use. They were doing about $30,000 a month. The founders were all doing sales. I came in, they asked me to basically do the sales for them. I said, absolutely. About 30 days in, we did really well. I told the team, hey, look, I want to build a sales team. Let me figure out how to do this. They said, okay, cool. Gave me a small override. I was off to it. At this point, I had never hired a salesperson. I had never managed a team. I had never read a book on building a sales team. I had never basically done anything. However, I was handed an opportunity where I got to put a blindfold on and basically throw darts and see what stuck. Okay? Fast forward about 6 months, we were able to take that $30,000 a month company to about $500,000. We had started with 0. We ended up with about 60, 65 reps. We outgrew 2 offices. It was a culture unlike any other. Many people in this room were actually a part of that sales team, and I found what I was best at, which was putting people together, developing leaders, and putting in sales systems. And the evolution of that started with me basically going over what I'm about to go over today, and this is where I learned a lot of these frameworks, which after that company ended up going different ways with them. I got into doing it for a lot of companies. Fast forward about 2 years, from Social X to Connected, That's when sales momentum really became a thing. So I don't know if Jordan is in here. Is Jordan in here? I think he's taking a call right now. Me and Jordan got into essentially building smaller CRMs for companies. We were building on everything you can think of. Think Salesforce, think GHL. Ben was actually a part of that business for a while. Think Close, think Keep, think Monday, think any platform that you can possibly think of. We were doing it, and we were doing it for every industry that you could possibly think of as well. What ended up starting happening is we would go in, I would take over a sales team, build it up, I would get the people ready to go, and then I would leave and everything would fall apart. Everything. People would start leaving, revenue would drop, founders would get stressed, everything would fall apart. So we started noticing why, and what it came down to was systems. Every single time. The tech would break, the platforms would break, they'd make changes, the software wasn't updated fast enough, everything was tied together, they had a mess, they had a ball of yarn that they were trying to untangle. So what we started to do was we started to focus on the systems component, and I got very nerdishly, freakishly obsessed with system architecture. How to align marketing, sales, and sales with CS, which I then came across HubSpot, and obviously, I don't know if many of you guys know, but that is our preferred platform, okay? So we started going into companies, and we started basically taking two different types of companies. Companies that were prior to scale, very smart founders, knew that they didn't have the systems, knew that they didn't have the process, and we would go in and lay down that foundation for them. The second company, which is probably, maybe not you, but maybe somebody next to you, they went through getting everything kicked off, getting to the point where they're scaled, and then everything started falling apart. So we started going into those companies and helping them basically fix everything, move them into a better platform, and scale them, okay? Now, the reason I'm telling this story is I have worked at this point with probably somewhere between 150 and 200 different sales teams, somewhere around 100 to 200 different companies, and all in what we're about to talk to today, focused. How do we get people to build process? How does that process get optimized off feedback loops? How those feedback loops turn into systems? How those systems develop talent? How does that talent eventually build and run your team for you? Okay?